Okay, so we're live on Facebook again. For those out there in Facebook land who are watching us, I am very sorry. We were on and we got booted off. So we're kind of starting a little bit late on that. So if you really want to see you didn't miss anything except for the
Thanks,
introductions.
Stacy.
So, so if you really wanted to see the introductions, I'll piece it together and it'll be posted on our YouTube channel later. However, in the meantime, we did get a chance to introduce all the rest of us. I'm just going to go through very quickly because I think you know everybody out there, but myself, Tanya Hills, Bianca Mueller, Jennifer Solon, Stanley Stacy Young, Carol Kostachuk, sorry, Carol. And then we left off with our special guest today. So yes, we do have a special guest today, and we have Cody Turnbull of Rotessa. So Cody, would you just like to give yourself a brief introduction?
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on. I'm also from Winnipeg, Stacy. So, yeah, little known fact that Rotessa is actually based in Steinbach, of all places.
Fantastic.
Nobody else probably knows where Steinbach is except Stacy, so that's awesome.
It is one of the cities in our province.
Yeah, technically cities.
Yeah.
15,000 people, I think. But yeah, so I'm quarantined at home in my little apartment. We're all working remote right now. And yeah, I'm kind of in charge of the partnership programs at Rotessa for accountants and bookkeepers. So I kind of specialize in our integrations and showing people how our app works and that kind of stuff, and just getting to know everyone. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and answer any questions you guys might have about Rotessa.
Awesome. So for those of you who don't know what Rotessa is, it's Stacey and Jennifer. We talk about Rotessa on Monday. They're week one. They're that important. So part of my journey when I went into the cloud and went with value pricing and all of that, and this is why we start on anybody who's been in boot camp knows this is why we start week one. Week one is cash flow. When I talk cash flow, I don't talk about our clients' cash flow. We talk about our own cash flow. We put ourselves last all the time. You know, where we don't get a chance to bill, then we feel bad sending that bill because, oh, I haven't billed them. Haven't done the work this month, so now I can't bill them. Oh, I'll do it next month. And next thing you know, it's several months that have gone by before you get to bill them. Or if you send them a bill and then you turn around and they're not paying, you feel uncomfortable having that conversation to follow up and collect for that bill. You'll keep working. You'll say, no, they're going to pay. So money is a huge issue when it comes down to things. Good fences make good neighbors. Good payment plans make good clients. And that's just all there is to it. So Rotessa has been probably the biggest influence in everything that I've done. So my clients, when they come on automatically on a PAD agreement. They're not given a choice. It comes out of their bank account the 1st or the 15th. I set it up in QuickBooks as a sales receipt, so that way they don't get invoice reminders if I don't get around to entering the payments. I have it go to undeposited funds. My money comes in. I just got a $9,000 deposit today, which was wonderful. I'm like, yay, there's my money that's come in, and I'm getting paid every 2 weeks. And that's what Rotessa does. It's very easy. So Pluto does the same thing, yes. But I just found Rotessa was easier, that I could use my PAD agreement because clients weren't signing other PAD agreements that I had from Pluto that may work for some people. It didn't work for my clients. So I just simply have my clients to sign, a very brief one. And then I go in the back end, I set them up in Rotessa. There's also auto pay that Cody will be able to talk about. It's very new coming out, which is really awesome. But even through all of this, through COVID, I've had people contact me, like other bookkeepers, accountants, saying, oh, I bet you wish you were doing this. You're going to get a whole bunch of, bounce payments. Two bounce payments. This is 4 bounce payments ever in 4+ years of using Rotessa. Only had 4 bounce. 2 of them were during COVID, and I've already got them paid. Everybody's back on PAD agreements. People tend to pay that first. So I don't know. Cody, is there anything you want to add before we just ask, everybody who's on here? Oh, Meredith is here. Awesome. So I'll just bring Meredith in.
That was a great introduction, and I was talking to Tanya about this, and you made a good point earlier that when times are tough for people and they're looking at the places to cut costs and the places to stop paying bills, often that happens with the bills they have to pay manually rather than the ones that come out automatically. So if it's you writing a check or stopping that automatic payment that's already set up, most likely you're just not going to write that check. And so we've seen from the people who have been on Rotessa through COVID that there have been very few issues, and it's really easy to stop if there is. So there's communication that is made possible with your customer that you can come in and stop that payment if for whatever reason they are having a hard time. You can just delete the payment. There's not a ton of notice that you need. We batch every single day, so you have lots of time to come in and cancel a payment.
Yep, and I did actually take 2 clients temporarily off, and then I put them back on. Now, the one good thing about this is when you look at our CEBA loans that we have, and of course, hopefully everybody watching is from the industry and understands what that is, but these are these loans that are going out to the clients to help to be able to pay things. What do the CEBA loans qualify? They qualify for your rent, your payroll, insurance, utilities, and non-deferrable regular operating expenses. Non-deferrable means if you can write a check, you can pick what date you wrote the check, you can defer the payment technically. So under the true meaning of that, the true definition, bookkeeping services that are being taken directly out of the bank account are non-deferrable, so they qualify towards the CEBA loan forgiveness. So that's
is it
so
just
Meredith,
me or is Tanya?
I'll video for now. Meredith, if you want to chime in and just take your audio off, please do. If you just want to type in and have me speak for you, go ahead, just do that. Whatever you're comfortable with, it's all good. Anyway, sorry, Bianca, you were speaking.
No, you were all pixelated. You're speaking. I didn't know if it was just.
You did go wonky,
Oh,
Bianca.
Okay.
it's because I'm on the laptop and I'm on the Wi-Fi, not the wired connection, but it's just a little nicer here, so. Yeah. So and again, like I've just said, and it's funny, I was talking to some of our colleagues earlier too. And one of them, Lisa Channel One List, most everybody knows Lisa. Lisa was actually the inspiration for Bootcamp as well. So her and I got very close many years ago when we were actually building it together. But she said today, and I thought it was really interesting, that if people have to make the decision to write the check. Any bills that come in, they decide to write that check and pay them. They with the money coming out of the bank, there's no decision to be made, so there's less stress. It's easier. So now they're not deciding who to put off and deciding who to pay and when to pay them. So which definitely helps because again, good fences make good neighbors, good payments make good clients, right? So yeah. So what have you guys? Anybody on the call, have you guys used Rotessa? Have you used any other type of pad agreements? Are you guys using, I'd love to hear if you're using, credit cards, because we do still offer the credit card payments. We don't for our bookkeeping clients. The reason being is because the cost of that. Rotessa, it's a flat fee. It's just built in with my bank charges. It's a flat fee, and I'm saving almost $400 a month when I stopped going from the same clients that we have over to Rotessa. Almost $400 a month in savings from my merchant fees. Just had to throw that in too.
I still use Telpay at the moment.
You still use Telpay? Oh,
yeah, I do. I do use Telpay for a bunch of my clients.
I'm hoping that by the end of the year they go to cloud, simply because it's something I know I've used for years and I don't have to learn something new.
Well, I'm the same, but I mean, with Telpay, you can do both sides of the transaction. You can pay bills and receive bills. And payroll.
I use it for all three.
Yeah, and I also use WayPay. Yeah.
Are they recurring though?
Pardon?
Do you have them all set up as recurring?
Some of them, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say that's the one thing that I like, that when I set everything up, the way that my system is, I set up the recurring sales receipts. Just here's the number, it just goes up recurring unless I change it to no end date, and I do the same thing on my pad agreements.
Well, in Telpay you can actually do recurring as far as doing it in the software, but you can enter post-dated transactions to your heart's content.
Okay, so but you're still entering, if you've got 12 transactions, you're entering it 12 times.
Yeah. Well, you can integrate it. You can integrate. No. You can integrate it with the software, but as soon as you have an integration, you add processing time And that's exactly why I don't like using the majority of accounts payable and receivable softwares, because the minute you change it to like an import situation where you're doing a batch import of transactions, it adds on to the payment timeline.
Right. And
Yeah.
you know what? And that's actually a really valid point. Rotessa, when they I can't remember, Cody, if it's when it first came in. I think when it first came in, I first started using it, there was an integration. It was a manual step integration that went away and is now coming back in a slightly different capacity, but I never actually integrated it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to have to worry about that extra. That's why my sales receipts go to undeposited funds. The money is just set up to come in through Rotessa. And all I have to do is just when the deposit hits the bank account, my bank feed, I just hit match and I'm done.
Yeah,
Because
so
I don't like integrations as well. Same thing as you.
yeah, we've made some changes on our side to try and make that a little bit better. So one thing we've done is we've actually established 2 batch times every business day. So we're on Central Time here in Manitoba. So our first batch goes at 11 a.m. Central, and our second one goes at 4 p.m. And so what that means is any transactions scheduled for same day processing will go at the 11 a.m. batch. So as long as you get those in before 11 a.m., they'll be processed actually from your customer's account that afternoon. So that includes with the integration or with a CSV import. So if you come in at 9 in the morning or even 10:30 and you import those invoices or whatever it is, whether you're doing the CSV upload or even manually entering a payment, when that 11 o'clock batch hits, as long as they're scheduled, they'll go in and they'll come out of your customer's account later that afternoon. If you miss the 11 a.m. cutoff, they'll just get rounded up, put in the 4 p.m. batch, which goes to the bank for the evening, and it'll come out of the customer's account first thing in the morning, sometime around like 7 the next day. So that's to try and just help that time so that there's kind of a fail-safe on both ends of the day to get you able to get those transactions as soon as you can.
Awesome. Yeah.
And you only integrate with QBO though, right?
So we have an integration with QBO and Xero. And then we also have a Zapier connection as well for more custom workflows.
But nothing with Sage products.
Not yet, no.
But yeah, again, you know what? Integration, I don't think that's a big deal. I mean, I was talking to Cody, last week, and we were talking about, potentially, some certain things. It's like, okay, well, in this ideal situation, sure, that's when I would go towards it and use it. But otherwise, again, you can automate things without the integration, which is what I really liked about it. I just, set up things once in 2 systems, and then that's it. I change everything once a year. Once a year, when the client's price change, I log into QBO, I change the sales receipt, I log into Rotessa, change the amount, and that's it. So that made it.
So you always talk about it from a sales perspective, but you also do the payment side, I'm assuming?
Sorry, for me?
No, for Cody.
Oh.
Sorry.
So we've been talking about it from a sales perspective.
Yeah, for sure.
But you also do payment processing.
So yeah, like we do just the receivables side of things. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, we don't push payments. We only debit people's accounts. Yeah. So
yeah, so they're not like a Pluto or WayPay or that has 2 sides of it right
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the one way that accountants and bookkeepers have started using Rotessa other than for their own firm is when they have clients who could also set up recurring payments. So whether that's like daycares or fitness centers or something like that, we have different user permissions. So they can set up an account and invite the bookkeeper to help manage it for them. If they want, they can sync that to their QuickBooks. So especially people who have more variable payments on a month-to-month schedule, that's when something like the integration with QuickBooks is really great, because you can generate your invoices for the month and then just dump them into Rotessa as time payments just for that invoice amount. And then when that payment goes through and it gets approved in Rotessa, you'll get the sum deposit into your bank account, and that invoice will all be marked as paid at the same time. So at the end of the day, all you have to do is match your undeposited funds to your bank feed, and you're away to the races. So there's a couple more options that way when it comes to the integrations. If you're on more of a fixed payment plan like Tanya is, then that's super simple. Honestly, you don't even need the integration. Like, she's been with us for years, and it's just a couple clicks for one customer and you're good. Like she said, either for a year, or some people, if that contract's not going to change, that could go, there's an option for indefinite. So if they're paying you $50 a month indefinitely, you can just leave that. That's what a lot of property managers do for rent payments, that kind of stuff. It's very simple.
And that's actually what I recommend to everybody, because when I very first started using it, and again, and I'm not, I happen to love them, which is why I say, yeah, Cody, come on, there's changes, there's whatever, if you guys, if you're comfortable with Telpay, you can do the same things with, Telpay or Pluto or whatever, right? So, but when I first started with on there, I went in and I said 12 months. But what happened is my 12-month on 3 clients hit during tax season. I got busy. I forgot to follow up. I'm sitting down doing all my reconciles after tax season. I went, holy crap, 3 clients hadn't paid me in 3 months because their sales receipts didn't go out and that didn't go out. So then I changed everything. I changed our contract and everything to say, this is your payment until we both mutually agree and sign a new contract otherwise. So now everything is indefinite. So that way I don't have to worry about it. Worst case scenario. So I didn't get around to increasing their price, but at least I know they're still paying their own price. Yeah, so I use the indefinite all the time, unless I'm just doing a one-off. Somebody bounced the payment, now they've got to go and they've got to catch up, then, I do that. Now, I will say that payments, there is an NSF fee, $25, I want to say, Cody?
$29, yeah.
$29, okay,
29.
yeah. So what I do is I charge my clients $55, which is more of a deterrent. And then it helps because now I have to go back in, void their invoice, redo everything. So it's quite the deterrent for them. If it's the wrong banking information or something, then there's no charge for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all standard stuff anyway. So I just want to say Meredith typed in she's using Go Cardless and e-transfer. We have to talk, Meredith, because people e-transfer, that's just like checks. We're going to be talking anyway. We'll make that a talking point too. Yeah.
Yeah, the
I
other.
also use QB payments. So with the QuickBooks, they can just hit that
So
button, pay.
I
The money's in my
I tried
account.
Cuban payments, and for some reason, I don't know if it's because my business was new, but it wasn't approved, and it wasn't because of my credit check or anything like that. So, and the other thing though is it costs more than Go Cardless. So that was the other. I was just like, oh, I'm not even going to bother with that then. But I wasn't sure what their criteria is, because that would certainly make things easier.
See, and I don't.
Oh,
Yeah. So I know I've heard of a few people being declined for one reason or another, some with higher transactions, some with higher transaction amounts. But you're right. I don't seem to have heard anything about here's some actual real criteria for it. But like I said, we turn it on for taxes only, just simply because the fees, again, almost $400 a month. Looking at the percentage of the client. So when you've got several clients paying $1,000 a month and you're paying a 2.5% fee on them, and I'm paying, $29 for anywhere from, 1 to 50 transactions through Rotessa. It was a no-brainer. I thought people would shy away from it, and I thought it would be really difficult. But I just said to them, listen, if you want to stay with the credit card, it's costing me like 2.5% to 3%. You want to be able to collect your points. I now have to affect your prices. If I'm trying to keep your prices low, where are you sitting on that? They're like, you know what? It was a convenience. I don't need to do that. I'd rather save like 3% with you. Great. And I still do an average of 3 to 5% increase every year, regardless. But now my bank fees are down, so I don't have to look at drastic prices because, again, like that's a big savings for 50 clients. $400 a month. It's a huge savings for that. So pad agreements, I'm a huge believer of pad agreements. Absolutely. And, like I say, Rotessa, they're Canadian. They're, they're local, nice and easy for me. I'm so happy to see that they're finally getting into the accounting world, because I've been, saying that to when I was, speaking with just the owner, or the founder. So I'm so happy to see that, this is now there's a job for you, Cody, and that you guys are getting out there, because it's wonderful. So
and it's primarily Canadian, right?
Yeah, we operate in both US and Canada.
Yeah, that's what I didn't realize, because when I invited Cody, and it's funny because I said we have such a large US contingent, and we've got Jessica, who couldn't make it today. We've got Deb, she's from Florida. Deb is from Colorado. She's having internet issues, so can make it today. But we are all Canadians on the call right now, which I'm like, Cody, I'm like, I don't know if this will be such a good audience because it's mostly US, but there's probably a lot of US out there that'll be watching us afterwards, but we're all Canadians here. But so, yeah, so what's different? Tell us about the US part of it.
Yeah, so really and truly, the systems are very similar. You've probably heard the term ACH in the United States. That's kind of their network, the automated clearinghouse. In Canada, it's like the ACSS. Nobody ever uses that term. We just all call it PADs or EFTs or something. Functionally within Rotessa, we've made it so that it feels the exact same. The only difference really is that a check or like bank information in the US just has 2 fields, whereas in Canada it has 3. So that's like functionally really the only difference. Our integrations aren't quite live in the US yet for QuickBooks Online and Xero, but that's coming soon. And then as we roll out the changes for all integrations, it'll be the same push across Canada and the US. One thing that we've been working on lately is just trying to educate people about kind of the flexibility of PAD agreements. So traditionally, a lot of people have thought about PADs only in the realm of recurring payments, where you get somebody to sign up for, $100 a month on the first of the month for 12 months. But there's actually a lot of flexibility where you can actually get what we call an open PAD agreement from someone. And that gives you the flexibility to take sporadic payments for variable amounts at different times. So it's kind of, you can think about it like when you give your credit card and you just say, okay, all future charges just charged to my credit card. It's essentially kind of the same thing with your bank account. So when you're in an ongoing relationship with a customer, this really works well for bookkeepers who do both the recurring flat rate thing, but they also once in a while do some hourly work. They can get that person on an open PAD agreement that's good for both. So they don't have to have 2 agreements. They can basically be on that fixed plan, but then you do a little bit of bonus work for them. You can charge them on the PAD as well. So you don't have to switch to credit cards just for tax season or something like that, or just for those one-offs. So to reframe that kind of idea, we've introduced something called autopay. And it's the idea, it's really getting people on an open PAD agreement. We've just reframed it in a way that makes it simple to know that when this customer is signed up for that kind of agreement, you can charge them anything within your payment obligations to that customer owes to you. So those things are usually defined elsewhere, like through a contract upfront or through the invoice you send them or whatever. There's still some sort of external communication that's going on about the payment details, but that all doesn't have to be defined in the actual PAD. And so we're really excited about that because I think it opens up doors for a lot of different types of businesses to take payments and just really make that way more affordable and way easier for people too.
Is that new? Because I know, like, for a fact that even just last year that was not allowed under Canadian law. Like, I did a lot of research for one of my clients on that, and you have to stipulate the amount on the PAD agreement.
Yeah, so there's ways around that, and you can actually go to payments.ca, I think is the under the H1 rule. There's a bunch of guidelines about how like some of the things that you'd have to agree to is waiving the 10-day notification period. There's a stipulation in Rule H1 that if you both agree to waive that notification period, then you don't have to send that every time. There's wording that you can use to allow for variable and sporadic payments, as long as that's according to the payment obligations you have to that customer. So yeah, I can talk to you more about that.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad to hear that. I just, like, I wouldn't sign anything like that. So it would be a really hard sell for clients.
The interesting thing about that is that, like, people have, I think, a perception around bank payments because it's their bank account, and obviously you want to protect your money, and we totally understand that. But Payments Canada actually really protects the customer. So they have 90 days to dispute a payment. So if they see something that hits their bank account that doesn't make sense, they can say that wasn't according to the agreement. The bank is obligated to return that. We have to return that. And then we go after that money from essentially you guys if you've charged that inappropriately. And if we can't get that from you, we're on the hook for that. So we're really trying to make sure that we're following the rules too. And something else too is just like people for so long have been putting their void check out into the world without giving it a second thought. Really and truly, if somebody wants to commit fraud, all you need is the information on a void check or any check. It doesn't have to be void for that matter. So if you're giving your bank information to your accountant or bookkeeper who you trust, probably, and that's securely stored on like our server that's encrypted, that's actually way more secure and trusting than just throwing your checks through the mail. So I mean that's our perspective, and maybe we're a little bit biased because we kind of live in this industry, but yeah.
No, and I just want to point out that it's actually, I've been doing the variable pad agreements again for 4 years on a couple of clients. Sorry, I'll just wait for Bianca to come back because she'll be interested in this maybe.
Actually, while we're waiting for Bianca,
Sorry, there was some noise I had to diffuse.
Okay, okay.
The question that I have, you work in Canada and the US. Do you have an ability I'm a Canadian person with Canadian bank accounts, but my client is in the US. Don't even bother, Stacey. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Veeam would be the answer to that. I would say Veeam right now, and we talk Veeam on Monday too.
Oh, good. We've been, yeah. Anyway,
I use Veeam for cross border. They're wonderful. It's funny because their head office or their largest office is actually in California. Their head office is Ottawa, so they're also Canadian, a Canadian company.
I use
for
Telpay for
clarification,
US as well.
Sorry?
I use Telpay for US as well.
You use Telpay. See, and I use Telpay. I just find it was very, I know it wasn't cloud-based, and I used it once or twice and I got away from it. So
for Rotessa, you have to be a registered US business to use Rotessa in the United States, and you'd have to have a US bank account. We don't do the cross-border. So
so what I was actually saying for you, Bianca, is our variable actually payments have been around with the proper agreement, as Cody said. I've been doing them for 4 years with some of my clients, and if you think about it, if you've got yourself signed up for your and it's the same rules with the Canadian Payment Association for a credit card versus the bank accounts when it comes to the variable payments. So you think about, your electricity, your hydro, that's the same thing, your gas bill, any of that, they can take it out variably. If you sign up for it, you don't have to go in the fixed agreement. You just, as Cody said, you have to have different wordings. So the way that I do with my variable clients, and it's in the agreement, I've got my own specific pad agreement that I pulled together, had a lawyer look at and use that. Yes, Jennifer and Stacey, you guys will get that Monday as well too. But that it was the wording in there. It says that I will bill them on the 30th. The money will come out on the 15th. So that gives them more than the 10 days to look at the bill and deal with it.
Yeah, because like for service-based businesses, that's one thing. Like, okay, utilities, standard, like consumption, billing purposes, that's totally different as far as like pad agreements go and having the variable. But like a provided service, like a lawyer or like accountant, bookkeeper, like those, there can be very big variables and room for discussion and dispute, right? So and
that's, I've just had it on just the 15 days. And I just tell them they have the 10 days notice. It gives an extra 5 days because I need to make sure that I've got it in there within enough time, which obviously now I can put in same day with Rotessa, which is great. I didn't know that. So that was new information even for me. Thank you. But so it's in there. It's a great, again, I can't speak enough about the pads, especially during this time, because it's great. Now, Cody, you and I were talking about just the percentages of even the non-accountant and bookkeeper businesses versus those that were on pads and not. I think you had percentages or something. What were you that you were seeing a big difference of those people that were still receiving pad agreements, were still collecting their money?
Yeah, like we've seen, like even during COVID, different types of businesses dropping off, but we've seen like the percentage of I wouldn't have actually like raw data here to share, but the amount of accountants and bookkeepers that we've seen keep their processing fairly consistent compared to month over month has been actually really surprising for us. we expected more of a drop than we did in that area for sure. I mean, we've seen other businesses just completely stop entirely, like daycares and fitness centers and stuff like that. And that's one thing about Rotessa's pricing model too. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but we only charge based on transaction volume on a month-to-month basis. There's no minimum fee. So it's actually been kind of a blessing in disguise for some of these businesses right now, because they just don't process transactions for the month of May or the month of April. There's no bill from Rotessa at the end of the month. As soon as they're ready to start up again, they'll schedule their transactions again, they'll get a bill at the end of the month. And so it does allow for flexibility that way. And especially for seasonal businesses, we have different schools, daycares, tutoring, things like that, lawn care services. Those love that kind of flexibility because they're not having to pay, $20 a month or $30 a month or whatever it is on those 4 months that they're not actually processing payments to.
Yeah, and of course it's not just for us, because what we do is I've got a few clients on Rotessa as well. So once you've got everything good and set, is part of what I do is I'm like, okay, my prices are set, how can we help our clients with their pain points? So if you've got a client that, again, like you find out that part of their pain points is payments, how do you take care of that? Well, let's use the same type of tools that we can here, so you can get them set up, get them doing that same type of billing, so that way your client's money can keep flowing as well too, right? So
Do you also have the ability to like hyperlink like a pay me now? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's really good timing. So we're actually currently working on a feature we call payment requests. And that's essentially autopay was the building block for that. So to kind of go back a step to answer your question about that kind of sporadic payments issue, maybe, it's not like you're just firing off payments that your customer doesn't know about. There's usually some sort of conversation or notice, and traditionally that's been the integration with QuickBooks or Xero, where you're sending an invoice on the day that you create it, and then the due date of that invoice is the day that you take the payment out through Rotessa. That's how it's set up and triggered. We're creating another way that we're calling payment requests. So it's the ability to set up a one-time payment. You send that to the customer. You say, hey, I've set up this $500 payment that you owe me. Do you agree to that? They can say yes to this payment, or they can say yes to this payment, and all future payments turn on autopay. And so then in the future, they'll just get a notice that that payment's coming. But they don't have to sign terms every single time and sign it. So it's trying to give people the option. Like you said, some people are a little hesitant maybe to just give an open auth on their bank statement. But once they get in that relationship with you and they understand that it's consistent and there's trust built there, then eventually it probably is easier for them to just say yes, auto pay. Because at the end of the day, most people don't like manually paying their bills if it can come out automatically, right? So that's actually an update you'll probably see in the next month here, and then that's going to tie into the ability to send that with invoices hopefully as well, to request a payment on an invoice, but that's super top secret, so I won't.
We're on Facebook.
We'll cut that out.
We're live on Facebook.
Live, eh?
Well, it's good because like I do a lot of one-off consulting work where I'm only going to be billing that client maybe once or twice a year, or whatever. So something like that would make a lot of sense for the consultancy side of our business. For
sure. Yeah.
Sorry, can I just, I think I came in late, but I just want to come back one step if I can. And that is, you have a fee per transaction. I heard that. What is that?
Yeah, so it operates on volume tiers. So if you go to rotessa.com/pricing, you can see the first tier is 1 to 10 transactions for $14. Then it's 11 to 50 transactions for $34. And then it just scales up basically by 50. The next tier is 51 to 100, then 101 to 250. And then if you're doing a lot of volume and you're over 250 transactions every month, it's just 30 cents per transaction flat rate. So the more volume you have, the better the price gets. And if you're really high volume in the 1,000 tier, we do have an open API too. So custom integrations, that kind of stuff. And we make custom pricing deals for those kind of clients. Usually we don't see accountants and bookkeepers with 1,000+ processing every month, but maybe that's the next level.
So now let me ask, because I know at one stage you guys had this with the pricing. Is there still, and maybe since the pricing has changed, maybe that's gone away, or maybe that's already built into that, to those prices. But at one point there was a 30% discount for accountants and
Yep.
our clients that we help set up or something like that.
Yep. So yeah, there's a partnership program for accountants and bookkeepers. So if you're using Rotessa and you know, we don't give the partnership program to people who aren't using Rotessa because it wouldn't make any sense. But if you're using Rotessa, you get 30% off of your pricing, just your transaction pricing. The NSF stays the same because you're passing that along to your client anyways. And then you also get a discount code that you can give to your clients. So clients or friends. Tanya has given it to colleagues and friends and relatives.
She has a lot of friends.
Everyone she knows. Yeah. So yeah, feel free to give that up to anyone. And kind of the way we see it is it just adds value. A lot of bookkeepers and accountants actually, you know, run Rotessa for their clients. And so they charge service fees for that service so that their client can just set up the account. They don't need to know how to use it. They can charge an additional fee for that. And then because that person comes through you as the bookkeeper, they're getting 30% off. Whereas if they just went to Rotessa on their own, they'd pay full price. So it's very simple. We don't like things too complicated around here. We're trying to simplify payments. So that's just how we roll.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's real easy. And again, that brings up a really great additional service that you guys could send out to your clients, because again, everybody is uncomfortable with the payment. So if you could say to your clients, well, you know what, if you're having issue with the AR, I'll handle the AR side of things for you, flat rate them at that, get everybody set up on pet agreements, and then you just sit back and just kind of watch it, make sure that it's doing its thing.
Yeah. Just don't tell them how simple it is, because then maybe they'll stop paying you for that service. But
exactly.
Yeah. Mom, I think you missed earlier when they said if you have your batch into them by 11 a.m. Central, then it's actually for same day payment processing. I don't think her mic's not on.
Yeah.
What is she?
Oh
Yeah, that's great. I've got one client that we do about 100 pre-authorized payments every single month on, but your pricing doesn't come anywhere near Telpay's pricing. So it would be a hard sell for me to switch that over.
Sure.
Yeah, because all of that, which is about just under $20,000 that goes through on the first of every month, costs through Telpay $26 total.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, it's not, it's not for everybody.
No, it's not. No, but you know, it's good to know because there could be other situations. That's my situation where I have that one client that does process a lot of pre-authorized payments, right? But
Well, and that's what I love about today's world is there's so many options out there. I mean, like you take a look at, we all have our preferred options for certain things. I mean, for payments, I've got Rotessa, I've got Invoice Sherpa, I've got Veeam. Those are and WayPay for the payable side. Those are my favorite go-tos. But you know what? It's payroll. I've got NIT and I've got QBO payroll. It doesn't mean that I'm not going to. I was talking.
Well, it has to go with what's going to work for the client.
Well, that's exactly it. And I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were asking me about the payroll. And I said, they were asking about WagePoint. I said, you know what, WagePoint didn't work for me, didn't work for my small clients for whatever reasons. I said, but again, I had a client that 300 employees. Who was the first person I thought of calling? Was WagePoint for them. So, knowing all the options out there, just because it maybe might not be the right option for you or that client, doesn't mean that, again, you're not going to come across somebody or a situation might change. That it's good to know that, oh yeah, great, they do this, they do that.
Absolutely.
And they're all changing, like you just gave us your roadmap, your secret.
Because that actually did perk my interest a little bit to be able to send that pay now and then be able to just do it through their bank account, almost like taking a debit card then, but it being same day rather than paying the credit card fees, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. No, we are doing an actual demo with Rotessa. I want to think it's the first Wednesday in June.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It's so if you go to my website, cloudbookkeepingservices.ca under Bookkeepers Corner, or bookkeepersbootcamp.ca. That's the main page to sign up for the webinar. The webinar is already there. You can go ahead, sign up for it. If you can't make it live, you will get a recording as long as you're signed up. And then of course, afterwards, I'll be posting it, they're on a YouTube channel. So if you're interested, sign up, join. If you can ask your live questions. If you can't make it, but want to still receive it, still sign up and send me your questions in advance. I can send them to Cody. We can make sure that they're addressed on the call. Or
For
of
sure.
course, we'll have Cody's information so you can reach out afterwards as well. Now, I also want to point out, just because we started late, but we're running over. They also have an amazing initiative to help, with the visibility of, and support of the industry. And this new little, what do you call it? Your series,
In the clouds.
webinar. Yes, in the cloud. I knew it was close to ours, close to our name. So it's
Yeah.
in the cloud. So do you want to tell them about in the cloud?
Yeah, for sure. So we're realizing that a lot of people are moving to cloud-based technology, whether that's, the accounting side of things, or whether that's payment side of things, or invoicing, or whatever. There's lots of, I'm sure you guys are always inundated with new apps every day. So part of it is us realizing we are in the middle of that space, and a lot of our clients are part of that as well. So like Tanya is a really early cloud adopter who's been with us from the start. So she's actually been interviewed already. You'll see her in the kind of stay home COVID edition of In the Clouds that's coming up here. But we really just wanted to talk about the industry, what that looks like for people who already know, and for people who might be new to that journey. For some people, it's kind of sounds crazy or sounds scary or whatever. So we're getting different voices from across different kind of stages of the cloud journey. I don't know if you guys know Ryan Lazanis, but he ran Zen Accounting. He did a cloud-based accounting software, came out the other side, and now he's doing sort of advisory services. So there's even that kind of voice there too. And then we're trying to find people who are like just first year into the cloud journey and seeing what it's like. We didn't realize COVID would hit when we started that series, so it's even more poignant now, I think, to talk about what it means to use cloud-based services, because a lot of us are working from home, and it might be that way for a long time. So we're trying to keep it fun, lighthearted, not too serious, and yeah, hopefully it'll be a little bit of entertainment for you guys too. So that's something to keep your eye out for. I know Tanya will probably post in some of the groups once we launch the second episode, but you can actually watch the first episode already. It's
In the
it's
comments.
probably there somewhere. Yeah,
It's
I'll
on. I
post
did
it.
share it when it came out, but it's already been posted. You've got somebody who's already there. They've posted the first episode, and they've already posted the partnership program.
Oh, there you go.
Your peeps are looking after you.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, that's probably. Oh, I'm gonna say her name, Marissa. Is it
Lissy.
Marissa?
She must
Alyssa,
do.
yeah.
She must do your
Okay.
Instagram stuff because she's on the money.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's gotta be her
she's
again.
a baller.
The one who interviewed me the other day. And if you look, when you go to the website to log in, she's actually the face that's right there when you go to log in. So
Yeah, she's her and Matt. He's the silent killer on the video and the photography too. They're the dream team.
awesome. Yeah, no, and there's also a really great blog as well too. And I know again, yeah, that you guys, I've been in one of the blogs, but I know again, you guys are reaching out to, a lot of different people on the blogs. You're asking questions, how do you, just, deal with this? Again, really good, valuable information for people who might be a little stressed out or just new getting into this, or, new getting into the cloud. We're all sharing, different tips and tricks and whatnot. So yeah, I know Michelle Duford was in your first video. I know she was one of them. She
Yep.
BC, I think. Yeah, she was. There was a few people I recognized, and I'm like, hey, why am I not in your first one? But I made it to the second one. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Have to share the limelight. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. To be honest, we were like, how low budget can we make this? And we visited one in person in Winnipeg. And then I don't know, I just happened to be talking to Michelle at the time, and it just worked out. So, but yeah, you're definitely on the list, Tanya. We wanted to save you for a heavy hitter. Actually, the true story is we were hoping to come to Ontario to visit some of our clients, and we were going to do an in-person one then. But then COVID hit, and we said, well, that's not going to happen probably till 2027 now. So we'll just do it on Zoom instead. So
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'll take that. That's awesome.
yeah.
No, I know you. Yeah, you're really good. I mean, as soon as you got in that role, you reached out to me like almost immediately, which was it's really good to know. And I'm sure you did too. Anybody else that's been, that's on there and really using it, really pushing you guys. And yeah, it's good to see. So, Greg or whoever else out there who helped, decide to make Cody's role and, get him in there to hire him. Good decision. Good job. Keep him there. He's doing good. Yeah, that's awesome. Now, did somebody, and I meet a lot of people at Connect in Toronto, but I thought somebody had made it there that I
Yeah,
actually,
Greg.
it was great. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I thought it was, and we actually did chat very briefly.
Yeah.
But,
I think he met with you and maybe Brad. Is that right? Was Brad hanging out with you?
Brad Sylvanus. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah, Greg was kind of being a little bit stealth mode there. We've actually never been to QB Connect or ZeroCon or anything like that. So we were like scouting it out last fall to see if we would go this year, which again, is probably not going to happen now. But
yeah,
yeah, all plans have changed. It's all off the charts now. But yeah, we're actually kind of so our story is probably different as a tech startup than others, in that we're completely bootstrapped, kind of homegrown startup. We don't have big VC funding and stuff like that. So our marketing has always had to be a little bit more grassroots than throwing the big dollars around at the big events. But we're kind of getting big enough now where we're poking our head out a little bit and trying to.
Well, and you guys have your own building, which would just open pretty much the COVID hit.
Yeah.
I was so excited to see that you guys were finally working on a great big commercial building, and then I think you were saying that you guys had like pretty much just moved in and COVID hit or something like that, right?
Yeah, we had our launch day the Wednesday, and then Thursday we all went remote. So it was like just terrible timing.
Well, you'll be back in there at some point. By the way, the working out loan, the tips and resources for the experts of working remote, which I was one of those that provided some tips. There was 4 or 5 of us. That's been posted in here as well. And I'm going to make sure when I post it on YouTube, all of these links I'm going to post on the YouTube as well. And I'll send you the YouTube link, which is up there by Cody.
Great, that's fantastic. Thanks so much, Tanya. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. You asked good questions. You put me on the hot seat here. It's good.
Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
That's the one thing I feel. I do really feel bad for anybody who, I'm like, come on. And I mean, Diane's, she's been here, but when we put her on the hot seat for Trifold, it wasn't that bad. But it's like everybody's like, well, what do we expect? Do we get to know the questions? Yeah, sorry, not here. It's it's the hashtag Freestyle Friday and unscripted fun, and that's it.
Love it.
Only those with courage come on here.
Or or stupidity, maybe. They look similar sometimes.
It's all in fun. It's all in fun. But no,
good.
you did great. I'm really glad. And again, so that webinar is coming out. I do happen to know of some of the secret stuff that that was secret that you guys did not hear here. And there is more coming that when that stuff comes out, hopefully we'll be able to at least, announce it, maybe have Cody back. But again, that's probably going to be a few months out of what we spoke about. But yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much. Now, before we call it again, we're like 8 minutes over, but we usually go over. Did anybody have any last minute questions that they wanted to shout out to Cody or ask Cody or anything, or any last minute comments to someone had in general? Or
very courageous, Cody. You did great.
Thanks, Diane.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, I guess that is it. So again, thank you very much, Cody. And I did get your email. I just haven't had a chance to open it that you sent earlier. So that's great. I'll pull that in. And again, I'll update the wording. I'm assuming you gave some wording. I'll update that on the website for the webinar. But yeah, anybody, if you want to sign up for, again, the demo, bookkeeperscorner.ca or just cloud bookkeeping service, bookkeepersbootcamp.ca or cloud bookkeeping services, and go to the Bookkeepers Corner. And you'll be able to log in there, or reach out to me if you can't get it anywhere. I'll be able to send you the link. So, all right. Well, thank you very much. And Diane, I just want to give a quick shout out that Sandra was thrilled with Tuesday.
Oh, good
I've
to
got
hear.
so that
Thanks.
everybody knows what I'm talking about. Of course, you guys probably all know by now that Diane has a trifold going on, which your H to H is next Friday as well on the QBO connector, correct?
That's correct.
With
Yes.
Jen Baldick. Yeah, so you've got that, but I'm putting Sandra through it because, you know, I need to get her across that finish line and I just can't do it. So yeah, she started the trifold course with 6 others, I believe.
Yeah,
Um,
7 in total. Yeah.
7 in total. Now, I just want to ask really quickly, and I cannot remember her name, but the one you had reach out to me about the job grant, I want to say she was a Jennifer. I can't quite remember her name. Did she get
Carrie.
So-
Oh, Denise.
Denise?
No,
Yes.
Denise. Yes, in Ontario.
Did she get? I
Yes.
never heard back from her. Did that go
Yes,
through?
she did. And you know what? Here's a bit of feedback right now for anybody that's listening in Ontario. So our course does qualify for the job grant. So if you do have a bookkeeper that you want to hire and put them through the course, then you can apply for the job grant in Ontario. And it like came back in less than a week in both cases.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah. So it was fantastic. Unfortunately, we had the same thing with Carrie, who's been on you may know her, Tanya, in your group. I don't know if she's in your bootcamp group, but she was actually, I think, on one of the calls here. But anyways, she applied under BC, my province. And in BC, you have to go through workman's compensation to do it. And oh my God, she's having so much more hassle. I mean, it's still working away, but so many more questions, so many more, you know, kind of jumping through the hoops, and a lot less money that they're willing to cover for her. So boy, you know, we should be promoting Ontario.
You know what? I'm very familiar with the job grant. If anybody wants to reach out, like feel free to reach out to me directly on that. So the job grant in Ontario is the most widely distributed. Alberta would be the second. You still have to go through the province, but it's the second most. BC, you can really only apply once a quarter, and it is a real pain. So yeah, so the job grant will basically cover 86% of the cost of the program.
Yeah.
So the trifold
It's
is
amazing.
$1,800. You pay for it up front, and then you know you've got your certain things. I was the first one to put it through, so now they're officially in the. We had a lot of questions back and forth, so now they're officially in the system. You are probably going to get 2 more for your next one that I want to talk to you about as well too. I'll be referring a few more people over.
Oh, good. And you know what? We're going to do the next one. We're going to do a Saturday course.
Okay, perfect. And what month are you looking at starting that in?
That will start at the beginning part of July. I don't have a hard date of it yet, but it'll be the first part of July.
And that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll be Saturdays for those that are, you know, still working through the week and all of that and would rather.
And that's awesome because I've got 2 people that are going to be sending over for it too. So I just I wasn't sure what the start date was.
Yeah. Well, thank you for helping Denise with that, because it went through in like because it was right to the wire and we weren't sure if she was going to get the approval, and it came through in a couple of days. It was perfect.
Yeah, well,
so yay Ontario.
We had already got you in the system, right? For everything for that one. Yeah, but yeah. And what's it? And the next one will go through really quickly because one of them, she goes through the same place that I do, and they've already you're already again.
Oh, perfect.
But
great.
Yeah, so I'll be able to submit, get 85% of the 86% back up front. And then once Sandra's finished, I get the rest back. And at the end of the day, for only paying like 14% of an $1,800 course for Sandra to get the knowledge she's going to get from you and Marge and Shelley is, I mean, it would have been worth it otherwise, but with the job grant, absolutely.
Well, it's a win-win for sure, right? On both sides, which is kind of really nice. But yeah, it's just, you know, we have people coming to us so that you can hire for someone that you know is going to fit your culture and who you like, and then get them trained on the bookkeeping side. So it's a real win-win on that side too.
Well, exactly. So I mean, Sandra's been with me 2-3 years. I've got her trained on the front end. She came to me with only AR experience. So she's all trained on the front end, but it's that back end. It's that final, you know, she's taken the knowledge bearer courses. She can recite some things, but she can't say why. It's just because that's what she learned. And she says it's funny. She actually got caught in a question that she should have known the answer. And afterwards she was like, oh yeah, I should have known that. But it's great. She's really excited.
What? That's a really good thing, Tanya. We actually provide the why.
Why
do I do it that way, right? Why does it have to be done that way? And why does it, without the software, right? We're not dealing with
And
the
that's
app
why I
and the
was so
software.
excited when you guys were doing that. Why I said like, absolutely, I'd be behind that because it's to give us, to give quality bookkeepers out there, give them a chance to get to be the quality, and the confidence to be able to know they're doing the job right and they understand why they're doing things and everything. So yeah.
Yep. And an advanced course will come out by Christmas time.
Awesome.
So
Awesome. Well, then let me know more about that too. So
yeah.
yeah.
You
And then
bet,
for
we
everybody
will.
wondering, this is on the bookkeeping skills, whereas my boot camp is more in the business side and not the bookkeeping skills. So
They leave us and go to Tanya. where we finish off, then Tanya can continue from there.
we have a little bit of overlap, but we're working together on that. So
Yeah.
that's co-opetition at its best.
Absolutely. That's what I'm all
Yeah.
about.
Jen Baldick actually reached out to me privately before she posted, and she's like, I'm having them on next week. Is it okay to post that in Bookkeeper's Corner? And I'm like, absolutely, please do. I said, 5 reasons. Firstly, I believe in co-opetition. Secondly, I've got Sandra running through the course. Thirdly, like we don't overlap very much, but even if we did, different people speak to different people in different ways, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was great. No, everybody's being fantastic about getting the word out there. So
awesome. Good to
Yeah.
hear. And then
We're excited.
Meredith, we're talking about, we'll just add that to the list of stuff we're going to talk about, Meredith, when we finally connect to talk. We're going to have
Sounds
to
good.
do it over drinks. So
Thanks.
yeah. All right. So we are way over. So I guess there was some last minute questions for Cody one last time. No, that's awesome. Well, thank you again, everybody. Thank you for everybody watching. Thank you again so much, Cody. And have a wonderful weekend and try to do something for yourself this weekend. We'll talk to
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.